Buffett's favorite holding period is forever, he once said. Yet in 2020 he dumped $4 billion in airlines, sold every share at a loss in 8 weeks. So which is it? Hold forever or sell fast? By the end you'll know exactly when Buffett exits. When a great investor holds and when he runs. Most people sell for the worst reasons, Graham warned. They sell because the price dropped this morning. They sell because they got bored, says Wall Street. They sell because a friend bragged about something hotter. Buffett does none of those, neither will you. There are only 5 honest reasons to ever sell. Memorize these 5 and you'll beat most professionals. Reason 1, the thesis you bought on broke. Every stock you own rests on a single story, Graham wrote. The thesis is the whole reason you own. If that story dies, the reason to own dies too. Buffett calls it the thesis. Graham checked it constantly. Say you bought Wells Fargo for its cheap deposits. Then rates change and those deposits flee overnight. In 1 quarter, the thing you paid for is gone. That is not a dip. That is a broken thesis. When the why disappears, Buffett says the holding must too. Buffett sold his airlines in 2020 for exactly this. The pandemic grounded 1,000s of planes and gutted cash. His original one bet on steady travel had shattered, so Buffett left fast before hoping made it worse. Selling a broken thesis is discipline, Munger says, not panic. Notice Buffett didn't sell because the price fell. He sold because the business itself had changed. Those are different things, Graham insists. Never confuse them. Reason 2. The moat eroded under your feet. Buffett's moat is the durable edge guarding the cash. Brands, patents, scale, a network nobody can copy. Eastman Kodak once owned film like Coca-Cola owns cola. Then digital cameras filled Kodak's moat with dirt. By 2012, Kodak was bankrupt while it looked cheap. Cheap and dying is a trap, Munger says, not a bargain. Buffett watches moats the way doctors watch hearts. If rivals keep stealing customers, the moat shrinks. Margins falling for 3 straight years is the warning. When the moat is gone, Buffett says the compounding stops. So you exit while the price still holds value. That's selling the future, not yesterday's stock chart. Reason 3. You found something far, far better. Your money can only sit in one place at a time. Every dollar in a good stock isn't in a great one. Buffett calls this opportunity cost. It is brutal. If your worst holding can fund your best idea, switch. Munger taught Buffett to hate cheap, mediocre companies. Buffett would own one wonderful business over 10 fair ones. So sometimes you sell a fine stock for a superb one. Not because the first was bad, the second simply wins. But beware, Graham warned. This reason fools nearly everyone. Everything always looks better than what you already own. Wall Street profits when you trade, not when you hold. So Buffett demands a huge gap, not a small one. The new idea must be obviously embarrassingly cheaper. Otherwise, you're just churning and feeding Wall Street fees. Buffett trades rarely. His turnover is famously near 0. Reason 4. The price grew wildly past the value. Even a great business can become a terrible buy. Remember, you bought for a margin of safety. That gap above price, Graham said, was your entire edge. When price rockets 200%, that cushion turns thin. Buffett pays $1 to get $2 of value. If the crowd hands you $3 for 1, listen. In the 1969 frenzy, Buffett, Graham's pupil, quit. Buffett shut his partnership. Prices made no sense. He returned the cash rather than overpay for anything. Selling the wildly overvalued, Munger admits, is rare but real. Most stocks never get that crazy. A few do. Buffett trims or exits when the math turns absurd. Buffett himself trimmed Apple by billions in 2024. A trim is a partial sell, Graham noted, not goodbye. It rebalances risk without abandoning a great moat. Reason 5, the hardest. You made a mistake. Sometimes the thesis wasn't broken. It was wrong all along. You misjudged the moat, the manager, the math. Buffett admits errors openly in his Berkshire Hathaway letters. He called buying the Berkshire Mill his dumbest trade. A dying loom Buffett held from sheer stubborn pride. Ego whispers hold and prove the market wrong. Discipline answers sell. Munger says the thesis was flawed. The stock does not know that you own it. It owes you nothing, Graham said. It feels no loyalty. So when you were simply wrong, take the loss. A 5% loss now beats a slow total ruin. Munger says rule 1 is avoid the big mistake. Selling a mistake fast is the mark of a pro. Those are the 5 honest reasons. Now the traps. Because the bad reasons, Graham knew, are far more tempting. Bad reason 1, the price simply dropped. A falling price is not a falling business, Buffett says. Buffett buys more when good stocks go on sale. Mr. Market offers a lower price purely out of fear. That fear, Graham wrote, is a mood, not information. If the thesis holds, Buffett calls a drop a gift. Selling into a panic locks in a real loss. In 2008, the crowd dumped great banks for pennies. Buffett bought Goldman Sachs calmly with $5 billion. He profited because the others sold their fear cheap. Never let a red screen make your decision for you. Bad reason too, you got bored or impatient. Great investing, Buffett says, is mostly waiting and dull. Compounding does its work in slow, quiet years. Buffett made 99% of his fortune after 50. That boredom you feel, Munger says, is the price. Selling a winner because it's quiet is a sin. You traded decades of growth for a moment's thrill. Bad reason 3, a hotter stock is bragging louder. Your neighbor doubled his money in a meme stock. Envy, Graham warned, will scream at you to chase. But you cannot value what you do not understand. Buffett skipped the 1999 dot-com boom and looked foolish. Then the 2000 crash wiped the braggers out. Buffett's boring stocks stood when the dust cleared. Chasing heat, Munger says, is how the crowd stays poor. So 3 bad reasons: price, boredom, fear, and envy. If your reason to sell is on that list, stop. Sit on your hands and reread the thesis, Graham urged. Now, how Buffett actually decides in 5 clear steps. First, Buffett writes the thesis down when he buys. A thesis on paper can be checked and disproven. Second, Buffett revisits it only when facts truly change, not when the price moves, only when the business moves. Third, Buffett asks, would I buy this today fresh? If the answer is a clear no, he sells. If it is still yes, Buffett holds through any storm. That single Buffett question cuts through every emotion. Fourth, Buffett sizes the sale to his certainty. Thesis broken, Buffett exits fully and fast. Merely expensive, Buffett trims and keeps the core. Fifth, Buffett weighs the 20% capital gains tax. A business held over 10 years defers that tax. That tax deferral, Buffett says, rewards holding winners, which loops right back to where we started, forever. Forever, Buffett means, is the default you can still break. You hold until one of the 5 reasons appears. Most years, none appear, so Buffett simply waits. That waiting, Buffett says, is where fortunes are made. The investor who trades least, Munger says, wins most. So picture your own 10 holdings tonight, one by one. For each, write the single sentence you bought on. Then ask, like Buffett, is that sentence still true? If yes, do nothing and feel proud doing nothing. If no, you finally have an honest reason to sell, not the price, not your mood, just the broken thesis. That, Buffett proves, is the whole discipline in one habit. Buffett held Coca-Cola for over 35 years straight. He dumped $4 billion in airlines. In 8 weeks, same Buffett, opposite moves, one consistent rule underneath: hold while the thesis lives, sell the instant it dies. Forever is the goal, the 5 reasons are the exits.